I'll let you know when we're live, buddy.
All right.
Obviously, we're live on Zoom already, but there you go. We're on YouTube as well. Take it away.
Let me get this thing out of my way here. There we go. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to say hello and um, obviously honoring the fallen soldiers from D-Day. What an unbelievable story. If you've been watching that and reading it as we get refreshed on that, none of us had to ever be involved in that, but I guarantee you we got relatives that were kind of crazy. But God bless all those guys for sacrificing their life to keep our country free to do things like we're doing today. David, you're muted.
Yeah, no question, buddy. I said amen. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really moved me this morning. I watched that ceremony for a few minutes and I actually had to stand and salute him. I'm alone, home alone, but I was like, I gotta salute these great men and women. And I've got some relatives who served as well. And I've talked to some people who served. I had one guy show me his wounds on his hand from a bayonet. And I never asked him what happened to the guy, but he survived and his hand was all scarred up from a bayonet hand to hand. And we're not talking about, from a long distance. We're talking about right on top of people. And it just, and here we've got freedom. It saved the world then. But I appreciate you mentioning that, Hugh, and I'll defer to you on this. But thanks for recognizing.
And it is absolutely amazing when you're reading about some of those kids, literally kids. They were talking about one kid today that went in there. He was 15 years old because he was a bigger kid, and his parents said, "All right, we'll sign off on it if you want to go." And he went and made it, and he got out of there. But one of the guys on one of the news channels was talking to him, and the guy couldn't even. This is 80 years ago. Amazing. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Can you imagine jumping off of a ship and just running right into a mess like that?
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
as
Unbelievable.
as you're seeing people falling,
Yeah.
it
Crazy.
was you climbing a hill. It's hard enough to run out of the beach without backpacks and without weapons, without people shooting at you. But
Yeah.
and I gotta say, I put a post up on Facebook, and then now we can turn over to business. But put a post up on Facebook. In full disclaimer, I will not be voting for President Biden. However, I thought his speech this morning, he did a fantastic job. And I just said, good job, Mr. President. He pulled it
Yeah.
up. He represented the America well this morning. But
Yeah.
anyway,
All right. So on to
rock and roll.
business. What I'd like to do, if we could, is if anybody has any questions to start off, I think that might be a good way to handle some of the things that you guys are running to out in the field. It's kind of interesting when when you're training somebody brand new in this industry. It's intimidating to get on the phone and talk to people about something that you're really not that educated about yet. But I've found that the one of the best intros or cold calls are when you're getting on the phone with somebody and you're just, calling Bob's Roofing and somebody answers. Generally, it's going to be a person on the front end of the phone, and you say, "Hey, this is Hugh. I'm calling from a local credit card processing company, and I want to see if I can help you guys on your credit card processing." 99% of the time, you're going to get this. We're set. We're all good. I always say, hey, wait a second. Before you hang that phone up, let me tell you two things that could be of importance to you. One is, are you aware that your company is eligible to participate in a $5.5 billion lawsuit that was recently settled by Visa and MasterCard? And then be quiet. And they'll go, I have no idea what you're talking about. That's why I'm calling. I'm trying to earn your business. And if your current provider has not brought you up to speed on what you're eligible for, that's an error on their part. But I will share that with you if you'll give me 10 minutes to talk to you about your business. Secondly, I would like to share with you that you generally, if you say to them, "Hey, how would you like your credit card processing for free?" They'll go, "Who the heck is this on the other end of the phone? I've heard this 10,000 times. I don't want to hear it." I say to them, the second most important thing is wherever you are in the United States, have you gone out anywhere in your life to a store, to a restaurant, to a bar, online, anywhere where they're assessing the fee for using a credit card? Every single person is going to answer that yes. When they answer that yes, you say, do you realize what that is? And they'll say, well, they're passing on their credit card fees. And I said, 80% of them are doing it wrong. I don't know if you're doing it, but that's why I'm calling. So those two important things, I don't know if it makes sense for you to listen to me for 10 minutes, but that's up to you. So does it make sense for us to continue the conversation? And 99% of them will say, yeah, that makes sense. What are you talking about my share of a lawsuit? And I'll say, you can Google it, you can do whatever you want, but there are particular steps that you must take to participate in getting your share of it. And what I will tell you guys is if you go out and Google the Visa MasterCard $5.5 billion lawsuit, it is going to say if you process credit cards from 2004 through 2019, you are eligible for a part of that settlement or a refund in a check, and they do it by tax ID number. So what their current provider should have done is include or sent them a postcard that said, "Hey, ABC company, this is your claim number. Make sure you file that with the settlement or with the claims administrator." And that puts you in line. That's all you have to do. You don't have to send them statements. You don't have to do anything because the way that they came up with the $5.5 billion settlement was that they went to Visa, MasterCard, and all of the processors and said, we need to know how many people are affected by this. So they already gathered all the data that is there. So they have the $5.5 billion. They're just waiting for every individual business out of the 30 million businesses that are in the United States. They are waiting for them to claim their share. If they don't claim their share, everybody else is going to get a bigger piece of the pie. Some merchants that you guys will call on have no idea what I just talked about. And it's a great inroad to talk to them in order to share with them that you know what you're doing in your business. Secondly, when you ask them, hey, have you been out anywhere where they assess the fees? And they go, yeah. Well, that's becoming the norm rather than just some oddball processing method. And if you're seeing it more and more in Main Street America, there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing it yourself. And they'll say, okay, how does that work? Well, what we do is we set you up with a compliant processor that does it correctly, follows all the rules, and your processing fees pretty much go down to zero. So I'm not sure which one of those two makes sense for you, but before you hang up and let me talk to the boss, and they'll say, well, he's not in, she's not in, or whatever. And I'll say, well, there is a deadline on this, and I'm not sharing with you that deadline, but I'm telling you it's within 30 days. I'll tell you guys the date. It's August 30th. It was May 31st, but because there was such a heavy influx of people trying to get in before May 31st, the claim administrator got an extension from the court to extend it out to August 30th. So we've got all of June, all of July, and all of August. You got 90 days to use that opening to do that. And some of these monster accounts that you may call on that are doing 500, a million a month, some of them have no idea because they're too busy doing business and they aren't paying attention to what came in the mail because it was mailed out in January. And it happens to all my clients. I call them and I say, we've mailed you 2 postcards. Have you received them? And have you done what you're supposed to do? And 98% of them say, no, I don't have time for that stuff. And usually, class action suits don't get me very much. And I go, well, you're right when everybody's getting an equal share. But if you have a person or a merchant that has processed a tremendous amount of volume in those 15 years, they will get a significant check. And that leads to the next part and say, hey, I wouldn't say this to them, but I think they would think, hey, this guy or this lady knows what they're talking about. Obviously, my guy's not paying attention to me. So why don't I give this guy a shot? Then you jump right into, hey, if you can, you already know what I'm sharing with you, but I would like to see and give you an idea what you might get back. Can you send over your last 3 months statements? I'll give you an idea, because basically all I'm going to do is multiply your monthly volume times 15 years and say, that's what you process. You got a chance of getting some of that back. And so that everybody knows what that lawsuit was about, rather than going to read it. You can read it if you want, but the courts ruled that Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and Amex overcharged on interchange fees. Interchange translates into their cost. The courts determined that they charge too much on certain cards. So let's say the card that just an individual card was supposed to be 1.95, but Visa, MasterCard, and the rest of them charge 2. There's 5 basis points in there on all those cards that'll be coming back to the merchants. I don't know exactly which cards they are, but that is the amount that you could kind of expect and give them a guesstimate. And the claim administrator will not give them a number, because they don't know what that number is until everybody that's going to file files. And then that group, that 5.5 million, is divided percentage wise on what you have processed. So that's kind of some good stuff to get in there and get in front of some folks.
Let me ask you something, Hugh.
Yep.
The claim administrator is going to split the 5.5 billion with those who file, based prorated based on how much you paid, how much processing you're doing, how much overcharging you had, right? And what's the website again they go to?
If you just look up $5.5 billion Visa settlement, you'll find it.
Okay. And
but
then I'm putting a
so
screen while you're talking. I'm gonna have a screen built for the people who watch us on video on where to go. So I'm just looking it up real quick, and I'll put the website on the screen in a minute. And that way, right there. Well, there's a bunch of people offering.
Okay. What you're reading there is some of you got to be very careful. Let me go to here. Don't go to any of those bogus websites.
Yeah, they're trying to get you to go to them so they can switch your processing.
Exactly. And they're trying to get you to let them do the paperwork.
For a fee.
For a fee to do that. You can do it if you want, but they're going to take whatever percentage they want. But there's only one authorized. Let me just save this document. Hang on a second here. There's only one authorized provider out there of those services that the claim administrator has approved to do that. So let me bring up, hang on one second here.
Judicial court authorized settlement website. Is it paymatecardsettlement.com? Is that right?
Hang on one second.
I think it is. If not, they're lying and saying they're the only authorized. Official court authorized settlement website is what this says, but
yeah, hang on. I don't know why this thing's doing this. Probably because I'm on Zoom. Hang on. All right, here we go.
you want me to share my screen? You can see what I got. You tell me.
Let me just, I'll get mine up and then I'll be able to tell you exactly.
All right, cool. Thanks, folks. And by the way, great counsel, you. I remember one big client that I sent you to get a quote on. You saved them several $100,000 a year, but they weren't willing to move, and we felt like someone internally was getting paid.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to reach out to them as soon as we hang up.
Oh, they're a giant. That is a giant one that should absolutely pay attention to us.
About 100 million a year in processing. So
exactly. All right, here. Let's see here. Pop this baby up. So the website, the official website is paymentcardsettlement.com.
Yep, that's where I'm at too.
Right. Okay. Cool. So it, it's got the https://www in front of it, but that's where your merchant should go. And if they don't have their number, if they don't have that claimant number, then they have to request that from them. And I'll tell you right up front, it is slower than molasses to get those people to do it. Just imagine 30 million people in America talking to them every single day. They usually do it through email, but yeah, you have to. The settlement was reached on December 13th of 2019. They just sent this out in January to all merchants to start getting their piece of the pie. So paymentcardsettlement.com/EN at the end of it.
Yep.
And that will bring you right there. And what we say from one of my main processors is the company Fiserv, which is one of the largest processors, has partnered with a company called MCAG, which offers settlement recovery services. That's optional, but they do charge a fee. Enrollment with that company is not required. So if you have any questions, just go right to that website, sign in, go to contact them, and ask them all those questions. They'll be able to hook you up and tell you what's going on.
All right. So is my screen sharing right now, folks?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna just put this up for everyone's benefit for 1 minute here, Hugh.
Yep, that's perfect.
So you see that? You see the screen, Hugh?
Yes, I can.
That's what it looks like, guys. The website's at the bottom. So that's snapped in there. We're gonna stop sharing in a minute, but that's what it looks like. And that's just a screenshot. Paymentcardsettlement.com/EN. Beautiful. All right.
Let me see what they say there. Hang on. Go back to that, Dave.
Oh, okay. I tell you what, I'll do one better. I'll just share my screen again live. If you want me to go through something, I'll be able to go through it. Share screen. And let's just go right to the.
All right, see where it says updated May 14th in an order dated May 14th, the court granted an extension to the August 30th, 24. Because some people will say to you, man, I've heard from so many of you guys in this industry, and you told us May 31st, not May 30th. Now it's August 30th. Well, hey, sir, ma'am, open this up. Go to paymentcardsettlement.com/EN. That's it. I'm not lying to you. And, I mean, I'm not a mean dude about it, but when I'm talking to somebody and say, hey, could I ask you a question? Where has your Hugh been?
Yeah.
Where's your guy been? Where's your lady been? This is important. And I said, and when was the last time you got an update on merchant services? Do you know that you can do it for 0 fees? No, I hear about it and I see it. Well, if you're seeing it, you know it's real. And my favorite line that I like to use, because I put it on them, does it make sense for your business that I'm assuming does X amount of dollars a month in processing to listen to somebody that has been around this game for 22 years? And there's the thing that you just did. Well, what if I can't find my claimant number? That's what you do.
At the bottom. Yep.
Yep.
All right, perfect.
Cool.
All right. Hey, thanks, buddy, on this. It's good stuff. And can I ask you another question? I know you said you're going to take questions. You said a lot of people are doing this cash discounting and dual pricing wrong. You said keyword was compliance. Can you first say what happens if Visa deems a merchant is doing it not in compliance? What happens to them? I believe they lose their ability to credit card process. But so can you tell them how they can what happens if they're out of compliance and why we are compliant versus what others are doing wrong?
Basically, what you are dealing with is that if somebody, like if you call, a contractor, let's say it's a roofer, and you say, hey, Bob, are you passing your fees on to your clients? And they say, yeah, I am. And I've been doing it for 10 years. And I go, are you doing it through a compliant method? And that meaning, do you have a terminal when you're in front of them that it brings up and it says, here's your cash price and here's your card price? Do you have that? And they go, no, I just add it to my invoice. Well, I go, well, that's a violation. So that is something that people they'll be a little bit scared about it, because you're telling them, if you don't do this right, matter of fact, and this is no kidding, I just looked at an email that I have from one of my customers that is on this program. there's two distinctions that we have to be very clear on. Surcharging is a separate deal from dual pricing. Surcharging by law cannot exceed 3%, and you cannot do it on debit. Okay. So surcharging is maxed out at 3%, and you can't do it on debit. That's when you're set up on surcharging. And surcharging is basically saying when a customer sees their receipt or their bill or their invoice, it says, we are surcharging all of our clients 3%. That is a compliant thing. They have to report to Visa and MasterCard and let them know, I am surcharging and this is my fee. And it used to be 4% up until April of last year. Then they went down because the card holders, the customers, were getting irritated that they were paying 4%. The government made a decision that 3% is the max, because what they do is they go out and they look at overall, what's the overall rate that a merchant pays across the board, 30 million businesses. They came up with a number that was 3. Sometimes there are cards that come in higher than 3, which are 3.2, 3.3, 3.5, 3.6 for the more high rewards cards and everything like that. So in a surcharging environment, the merchant will lose a tiny bit by not being able to charge the 4%, but it's a law that you cannot charge higher than 3%. So if you're doing it and you're telling your customers that you're surcharging them 4.5%, right there, and I know that it's a violation of the rules. And here's what it says. This is let's see here. Hang on a second here.
Whereas dual pricing, while you're looking that up, dual pricing, they can do 4% because you're showing them both things on the screen, the cash
Right.
and the credit card price.
Right. Dual pricing is not cash discount. So dual pricing is, I'm giving Mr. Customer, I'm going to give you an option when I show you my terminal or I assess it on an invoice. I'm going to say, you can call us and pay via ACH. We'll give you that option. That's free. Or if you use a card, whether it be a debit or credit, a card, then you're going to pay 4% on that charge. We're giving them the option. So that's what it says. So it says here, dual pricing, cash discounting, and surcharge. Visa is in the field checking merchants for surcharge violations. There's $1,000 non-refundable fee associated with every valid reported offense. Ensure merchants are aware and compliant with the rules. If the fee is added to the cost of the item, it says, ensure if the fee is added to the cost of the item, it is considered a surcharge. So it must be disclosed at the point of sale. Okay. Merchants cannot assess surcharges on debit cards. It doesn't say anything about the dual pricing situation with debit cards. Right. So as far as I am aware, through the providers that I use, they say, as long as you present it and you say, here's your cash or ACH price, check price, or your card price, then you're good to go. Yeah. But that varies from state to state, some places. And that's what we have to, make sure of, that we're following the rules.
The good news is all the providers know, I mean, surcharging is illegal in 4 or 5 states too, but not dual pricing. So
surcharging is illegal in Connecticut and Massachusetts. They don't allow it at all. But
Maine Maine and New York as well. I'm looking at a site, unless they changed it since
they do
March.
Those are the only 2 that I know of as of today.
Yeah. So, well, this says as of March, I'm on a law site. As of March this year, Maine and Massachusetts, New York, and Connecticut, and Puerto Rico were the 5 that was as of March, according to this law site. But maybe a couple of them are now. But dual pricing, it's fine, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. We do dual.
And what they'll do is they'll call and they'll say, hey, we're field checking merchants or whatever. But a lot of people that will send out these notices are trying to get your merchant account. So they'll try to scare the heck out of you doing it. There's a lot of dirty pool happening out there that they're trying to scare the heck out of you to call them and say, hey, what's the deal? Well, you're doing it all alone. You're doing it manually is what I ask them. If you've just been doing it and adding it to it, you're not following the rules, and you're not, sorry about that. You're not following the guidelines. You didn't report. If you're surcharging, you have to report to Visa and MasterCard. You have to tell them you're doing it.
And
So
when
if anybody's,
when you go up, Hugh, when you go to a coffee shop and it says you must spend $5 to use a credit card,
mm, I'd be
that's
careful.
wrong, right?
I'd be careful on that, because
Yeah,
here's what they do is they send out field shoppers, secret shoppers, and they'll buy a coffee at that shop, and then they'll report it back to Visa. That's their job. They're riding around town trying to do that, and they've
that's a
got people.
violation, right? That is a violation.
I don't know for sure if that's a violation, but if what the merchant is saying to you as the customer is, hey, I'm getting my head kicked in on a $5 transaction where it's 2.5%, right? So I'm getting beat up. So you got to charge more than $5 to use my credit card terminal.
Yep.
If you're doing 5% times 2.5%, that's 12 cents, to them. And if they're selling a coffee at $3,
Plus the
you,
transaction cost of 25 cents and
yeah,
there's a minimum transaction cost, right? Too. Each transaction you pay a quarter or whatever, or 15
there,
cents.
a 12 cent, it translates into about another 2.5% on the small tickets. When they're small, the pennies, and all you have to do to figure out where they're getting beat up. And that's what the merchants do. They look and they go, I'm selling a can of pop for $5, but you're putting it on a credit card, and your card is a 2.5% credit card, times 2.5%, that's 12 cents. Well, if you divide that 12 pennies into that $5, it comes out to
Percent.
0.024 times 100. That's 2.5% on
Mhm.
top of the 2.5. So they're paying 5.5% to take that car. They're
Yep.
getting killed.
And
And
they
we're
might
not
have a
even,
25 cent or
yeah, and we're
yeah,
not even
50%
taking
minimum
in,
transaction.
and we're not even taking in the transaction cost. So you add
Yeah.
another 10 cents. So you're right around 3 and 4. So that's why they say if you're going to buy anything less than $5, it's cash.
Yeah.
And it should be really, to be safe, should be 10.
Yep.
So,
All right.
so
I just have one more question for you.
okay.
And by the way, guys, this is why warm market matters so much. Every one of us can talk to Uncle Joe and Aunt Betty. I bet everyone who knows Hugh, who everyone is related to him, uses his payment processing, or at least has given him a chance to win that business. And you all know at least 100 business owners, and you canvass. You're out there in restaurants every day. You're out there in coffee shops every day. You get a receipt every day. You can see they're not doing dual pricing if it's not on your receipt. You can see that they're paying probably 3% of their sales, and you can save them 3 times that right now with standard processing, or get them down to net zero by going to dual pricing. So I'm just going to encourage you, and I'm going to shut up and see what questions you guys have. But I'm going to encourage y'all, if you already haven't made a list of everyone in your phone that owns a business, and you haven't already downloaded our app and said, okay, I'm going to text them, email them, call them, and reach out to them about saving them money on their merchant services, then that's your first job. It's you're educated enough to know that Hugh and his team will take care of the client. Your job is just to let them know 3 times their current processing. We can save them without dual pricing on average, or all 12 months with dual pricing. And then it's getting on the phone and reaching out to them and encouraging them to give you a shot. And of course, this 5.5 billion, you told me about it. I was
Mhm.
processing the company that I was processing with, from 2003 till 2012. We did a lot of processing. My guy never called me and told me that. You
Yeah.
told me, and I feel if I was still processing, that'd be a reason to leave them right there, that they don't really care about your business. All right. Thanks, you, for everything, man.
Yeah.
And you got any
Okay.
questions?
Lori, you can unmute yourself. You have a question?
Hey, thanks you for the information today. I appreciate it.
No
I
problem.
have a couple people who are doing digital marketing online, and they are using mostly Stripe and PayPal. And it seems like the fees are rather high on that. But everything is done for them, digitally. Everything is online. Would that be able to be something that you guys could do for them?
Yes, absolutely. The Stripe, Square, PayPal, all those guys, they're generally at 3.5% across the board for everything. So I know for sure if they want to go with a traditional program where we put them on an interchange plus program, which basically means I'll give you my cost plus whatever the bank feels is fair on the rate. We will always beat those guys on that rate. And then we just need to find out what their payment gateway they're using is. And that's basically a payment gateway for you guys translates from a terminal as a terminal in physical, where you have these things sitting on your desk, but the virtual terminals are the gateways on the internet that let them process those payments. So find out what payment gateway they're using. And if they're using a POS software, or I mean, a software on their website, find out what that is, and I'll find out who we need to work with to make it happen.
So I know for a fact what they're doing is they're offering Stripe and PayPal, and then I think they're also offering like payment plans. I don't know if that's through Stripe or not.
Yeah.
Is that something that you guys could do?
We don't do the payment plan stuff, but we do all merchant stuff.
Okay. And if I wanted to, could I just send them to my website? I mean, some of these people are doing 30,000 a month, 100,000 a month online. Is that something I could just send them to my Dave Ellen Capital website, or should I send them directly to you?
You have my contact information?
I do not.
Okay, my email is my first and last name, Hugh Pobur, Pobur, at gmail.com.
Okay.
And just send me a note and say, hey, Hugh, this is Lori Barrett, and I want to get on a call with you with so-and-so on this day or this time, and we'll schedule it and get on there and talk to them.
Yeah, because she's got a community of like 20,000 people that she teaches people to use Stripe. And if there was a way that we could do it and still be easy enough for the average person that's not techie to set that up for their own sites, that would be a huge benefit to a lot of people.
We could absolutely do that. And there for, connections like that with your friend and the person that brings those deals, at times, depending on how valuable it is, there's revenue share programs and stuff like that the banks will do with big lead generating companies like that.
Yeah, I guess my only concern is that, if I show her this and she's a business minded person, that she might say, well, I just want to sign up as a DAC rep and do it all. Like, no, I want it to go through me.
Well, so I think if you're bringing her into the business and you are her person that sponsored her, brought her in. I don't know how that works, David and Sharon and those guys will be able to answer that better, but
yeah, I'm trying to find personal customers. So that's my big thing. And I know that's a great residual generating revenue as merchant processing. So, okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and she may be wise enough like you, Lori, to want to become an affiliate, but you'd still get overrides, of course. And by the way, guys, don't reach out to Hugh. If you got a client who wants to get a quote, go through the back office engine so that we have the status updates live and you give the bank statements. There's a process to do it. So that was a unique situation. So please respect his expertise and go through our process of uploading everything before a call happens. Because we'll end up getting hundreds of emails a day, and it'll be to the point where we can't reach out to the real good ones because we're fielding a bunch of basic questions.
There you go.
Okay, next we have Carmen Yolanda. Carmen, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, I was calling about two different scenarios. One is my hairdresser. I've been telling her about this payment processing forever, and she's always saying, no, she's good. I only make $2,400 a month, and she uses that thing you put Square. She uses Square on her phone, so she eats everything, because if it's $25, she just pays. It's $25. You don't have any tax or anything, so she's eating everything. But I don't know how to convince her or whatever. And also the other scenario is I get my vitamins online from this company, from two different companies actually. And I didn't know if I contact them, do I tell them I want to talk to their support, like we have David Allen Capital support, or how do I ask them about their payment processing? Because I know they could. online.
I'll be straight up with you on anything that's online like that to get past all the gatekeepers that you have to get to. The people you want to talk to in that situation are CFOs, owners, the people that
Okay.
are in the C-suites, all those guys, in order to make that decision.
Okay.
Because if they're online and they're doing a bunch of money, they're already hooked up pretty well. But we have brought a lot of those on. But
Okay.
you have to get to the C-suite folks. You got to get to the CFO or the main accountant or the controller or
Okay.
somebody like that in order to get your goal is to get the 3-month statement. So if you ever get to anybody, just say, who would I talk to in your main office headquarters that would be able to communicate to me what you guys are currently doing with your merchant processing? On the hairdresser, that's going to be a tough one. I know for sure we're beaten on rates on Square and PayPal and Zelle and all that stuff. We beat them all the time.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a
Yep.
great day. God bless you.
Yep. You too.
Harlequin, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, Hugh. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Especially thank you for letting us know about the lawsuit, because I think that will help us open up a lot more doors.
Yep.
A question for you. What website were you looking at when you were reading about the surcharge?
That was the one that we said what was that, David? It was payment card.
Oh, okay, the same one.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I missed that part of it.
Yep.
And
It's
then
shared, it is shared in the comments as well, or the chat.
yeah, I've already got it pulled up.
Yep.
Cool.
But the other thing, David, on the app, the third graphic in there, it on payment processing, it says no processing cost to you, and it says using surcharging. So we'll need to correct that.
Yeah, I would take that away.
Yeah, we'll update that. Thank you.
Yeah, it says benefits of DAC payment processing is
Yeah,
the title of the graphic.
that was before dual pricing, so we'll update that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And in reference to the lawsuit, if just for friends and also for myself, because I used to own a business where I used payment processing, how small of a business, at what point does it not make sense to apply for that?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It's, if you're processing for 15 years, right? If you're processing $1,000 a month times 12, that's 12,000 times 15 years, that's $180,000 of processing. If they're going to give you back, I don't know, let's say it comes out to be 1% of that, they're going to send you a check for $1,800. I don't know, and they don't know what the split is. They have no idea what the pool of money to be divided is. So I'm sure they've got some algorithm over there that says, all right, hey, you process 5 million a month for 15 years. Here's what your check's going to be, because they analyze all the data from the big processors and they drill down and say, all right, these guys took this many of those cards that were affected on these rates. This is the total amount of money they deserve, and here's your check. I don't know. It could be, I've thrown, I myself have thrown a lot of class action suit emails out or cards, and I just go, man, I spent $14. I throw it away. I don't know. I don't have time for that. But this one, everybody should have time for.
Okay. Yeah, because it was a part-time business that I had, and some months I charged $100 and some months it was 500.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you just they'll know that number, call and get your number and just submit it and see what happens.
okay. Yeah. Because I was using Square at the time.
Right. Cool.
So all right. Thank you so much. Appreciate all of your knowledge that you're giving to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jose Vasquez, you can unmute yourself.
Well, good morning, Hugh. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hey, Jose.
Okay, good morning. Yeah, I have several questions here. Yesterday I was talking to a merchant and he has 3% on surcharging. Is there
Mhm.
anything we can do for them?
Yeah, it depends on how much volume he's doing, because the presentation at that point is if they're already doing it, they're already paying nothing. So if they're doing, if they're doing $5 million a month, my pitch to them would be, all right, what is your revenue sharing with you? And they go, I don't know what you mean. And I said, well, are they revenue sharing with the profit for you charging the 3%? If that's something they're interested in, and they're a big provider of what they're doing. I mean, it's a possibility, but if they've already got it, it's pretty much a dead end, but they're always worth talking to. And they might, and then again, they might be doing, like we talked about in the beginning, they may be doing it manually. So you got to dig down a little bit deeper and say, hey, are you doing this on your own, or are you doing it through a compliant terminal that gives you the cash option versus the card option? If they say, no, we're not doing that, then they're not doing it right, and we have to make sure they get compliant.
Okay. The second
Yeah.
one is
And one more thing,
uh,
don't forget you can recruit him as a rep, as you mentioned. That's what he means by the rev share.
Yeah,
They can become an
okay.
affiliate and get paid on their own account.
exactly.
Okay, perfect. The other thing is previously you had mentioned uh, fines for violations ranging from 5,000 to 25,000, and that's for dual pricing.
No, that's for violating surcharging rules.
Okay, so that's the same guy that's doing surcharging. I might bring that up to him as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Another question is for them to claim on that settlement on that website. Is there a place for them to do that there?
Yes, go to that website that David put in the chat.
Okay. Next question is tomorrow I have a meeting with this convenience store owner, and
Mhm.
he is from one of the Arab countries and stuff. This poor guy works 7 days a week,
Mhm.
and I've been kind of dating him, so to speak, for about the last 6 months, and he does not want to do dual pricing because he
Okay.
don't want to pass on that to his customers.
Mhm.
But
What
he
state is he in?
Louisiana.
Okay.
Okay.
Just a blanket statement for all dual pricing, all surcharging. Every merchant that I've ever talked to is scared to death to do it. Every merchant that starts on it 2 months in goes, why the heck didn't you call me 5 months ago? Nobody's
Correct.
complaining.
Correct.
They
Okay.
don't. It's the way that processing is going to be done for a long time.
Okay. So being that he works so much, I'm trying to figure out how we can uh, get both of y'all together.
Submit it through the DAC site
Okay.
and make sure you got a good phone number and a good
Right.
email. And as soon as I see that come in, I will call them and I'll see your name, Jose Vasquez, as the rep, and then I'll get with him and we'll report back to you, let you know what's going on.
Okay. Okay. Well, great. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Got Leo.
Leo, you can, Leo, you can unmute your,
Okay, yeah, I was saying I couldn't unmute that. I was trying to, but it finally let me. Thank
Gotcha.
you. Hugh, does that work with? I have a potential client that has Toast. It's a pretty neat system. They have like their POS on like the little handheld thing, and they print out the receipt.
Right.
They leave it on your table, and they walk away. You could pay it online or like connect it to your card. So you
Yeah.
don't even have to walk up to the register. Do we have? I mean, will our system work with something like that if they want to keep something like that? And would
Yeah.
we be able to see?
What kind of business is that?
It's a restaurant. It's a Mexican
Okay.
restaurant,
Well,
and they
what you need to find out is what POS system are you using?
so
That's
I believe it's, and I don't know if this is the answer, but it says Toast.
Toast is going to be very difficult. They have
Okay.
they have a proprietary provider of merchant services, and in order to use Toast, you have to use them, so you won't get that one.
Got you. And then the last one is kind of based on a similar question that the previous gentleman asked. The gentleman that I have was as a cleaners, and he just switched over to surcharging because I saw the note posted on his cash register for 3%. It wouldn't make sense to try to get him on something like dual charging now since he just started, or do we still have a chance?
I would say go move along.
Okay, copy that. Thank you.
Yep.
Sign him up as
Christopher?
an affiliate. And if he doesn't want to do that, that's all right.
Yeah.
Let him earn a commission on his own deal. Christopher Sanchez, you're the last one. Sorry, Mom.
Hugh,
No problem.
Thank you for sharing your time. With this lawsuit settlement,
Mhm.
are there any businesses that are excluded from filing?
No idea.
Okay.
Have them call, do you not want to be the conduit to them getting whatever they have to get? Your job is, this is the website, follow their instructions, and not to be mean, but leave me alone.
No, understand. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I think we got one more, then I got to jump.
Carmen, you can unmute your.
Hi, I just thought of some places I know only take cash. They're like not American. They're Guatemala or some other country. Do we ask them if they are interested in doing that? And
Are you talking out of the United States?
No, they're in Virginia or Maryland.
Okay. Yeah, we can do it.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yep. All right, gang, that's it. I got to run, but thank you very much. And if you have any, just make sure when we're submitting stuff to the portal for DAC that you get as much information as possible and enroll from there. Most important is get 3 months merchant processing statements. I don't want bank statements. I need merchant processing statements.
Okay, thank you, Hugh.
David is not, can't hear David. He's talking.
Oh, thank you. I was just saying, yep, that's right. The only time we need the bank statements is if they're a startup, but otherwise just make sure you get the merchant processing statements over. Let's move these packages along. Don't forget the residual income you get on this, the residual qualification, and it helps you get to that 2,000 residual revenue mark, guys. And you know you make 50% when you're in that point. So rock and roll. Thanks, Hugh.
All right, see you guys. See you, Sharon.